Excellent. Well, thank you for being here, everyone. And this is Hawk Zombie.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just introduce. Hello, everyone. Welcome to RPG Maker Cola, your fizzy soda-filled source of content for game development and design opinions that mean very little in the grand scheme of things. I'm your host, Benny, and today I'm interviewing the one and only incredible Hawk Zombie. Thanks for coming
I
on the
don't know
show.
about incredible, but thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
No,
it.
you are. Yeah. For those who know, you know how incredible this person is. For those who don't know, they're a streamer, writer, editor, and important community figure in the RPG Maker world who just fires on all fronts. Whenever I watch a Hawk stream, it's just so fun. Yeah. I've become a fan of sorts. Like I kind of, I joined as
Thank you.
oh, it's very interesting, and then all of a sudden I'm subscribed for 7 months. So it's just
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, it's really good to see someone support the RPG Maker community like that.
Mhm.
So I think the first thing I'd like to ask, well, firstly, how are you? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, Benny?
I am doing swell. This is like the first live one I've done in a while, especially with the cam, but we're going really well.
Nice.
Oh, this is also being recorded live on Twitch for those who are listening, the listening audience. So yeah, feel free to check those out when they come along. So my first question would be, where did this all start? So you got the community, you got the streams, you got your writing, you got your game making, and you got everything going on. But I just want to know, where did it all begin?
Oh God. Way back when, like in high school, is when I first got bit by the writing bug. But for the whole streaming and becoming a part of the RPG Maker community, I've actually been a part of the community off and on since around 2004.
Mm,
There were several unofficial forums. There was the Don Miguel RPG Makers, the hacked ones, the only way to get them in English.
mm,
So I and a group of other friends, we all kind of palled together online and we kind of just dinked around with the program. I didn't really make anything then. I was just more of a hobbyist at the time.
mm,
And the whole streaming thing came around when I don't know what really pushed me to stream. I thought about streaming some other games, more popular games and things like that. Like, not to say that RPG Maker isn't popular, it is to a degree,
yeah, yeah.
but
Especially more nowadays.
not as
Yeah.
popular as say something like Overwatch
Mm.
or more AAA type games.
No, I
And
don't
I
know.
thought to
Maybe
myself,
Witch's House or something that gets around the same amount of views. No.
it does. And I was thinking to myself, I want to give streaming a shot, but also I want to stream something that not a whole lot of people are doing. So I'm not
Mm,
really in a market that's saturated.
mm,
And RPG Maker just kind of stood out to me because, like I said, I've been a fan of the engine for a very long time. And I had gotten involved in different communities over the years. And I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I just stream this and put a focus and a spotlight on RPG Maker games and games that I enjoy?
mm.
So that's pretty much how it all began. And that was back in 2018. And I've been going strong since.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to hear that you came from it from a game developer perspective first, and then kind of you
Yeah.
sort of gravitated towards the games in the same engine. Is that
Yep.
correct?
I never developed a game. I just
Right.
hung around with a bunch of developers and I fancied myself a writer. I did web comics mostly around that time,
Mm,
but I just liked the engine and I liked the games that were produced by the engine. So I just kind of hung around with a bunch of those people in those communities.
mm,
And yeah, I- I've I've only made one game ever. It's a crappy game,
mm.
but I've always come at it like a player, you
Yeah.
know. So
I think when you made that game, you're kind of was it? I read that you were sort of trying to prove a point about writing. Was that correct?
Well, it is more to prove a point that somebody can make a decent game
Mm,
with decent writing using just the base everything.
mm.
And it was more of a screw you to the guy that basically said, "Oh, I'd like to see you do better," when I critiqued their game very
Yeah.
harshly because it was a whole big drama thing in my community
Oh
and this
yeah.
person it was attacking me personally and they finally just said, well, I'd like to see you do better, and like, okay, I will. And I streamed developing the game from start to finish from scratch.
Oh.
Everything was done on stream.
Mm.
It's all I've got the VODs of all that archived on my channel. And yeah, I made a game.
How long did it
And
take
it
for
was
you
based
to make that game?
it took me about a month
Mm.
and it shows.
Mm. A month's decent amount of time. Fantastic games have come out of a month. Seriously,
Oh
but
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah.
Not mine, but there are some fantastic games that can be made in a very short amount of time, but this is not one of those.
Yeah, but that was like to prove there was like a base level of okay, you can
Yeah,
have
well,
this
yeah.
level
I
of
mean,
competency.
just the base level of competency, because
Mm,
I've always had a working knowledge of the engine, but I never had any sort of nitty gritty. I never really understood events until I started doing this.
mm,
I never really messed around with too many plugins. I always just kind of dabbled a little bit here and there. Oh, I'll make a little map, and
yeah.
I never really did any actual mapping. Like, so I just kind of had a hand in everything.
Mm,
And I feel that for what it is, it's an okay game, and it proved my point. If you just go at it with determination and baseline skills, you can make a decent product.
mm.
So,
Yeah, and because if I remember correctly, you come from like sort of a novelistic background as well. You've made
yes.
you've written some ebooks, and you come from
Yeah.
like a writer's background. I've also heard you say that writing is really important in an RPG Maker game. Would you like care to elaborate on that, like your own personal journey with the writing side of things, or?
Well, my first, like I said, I've been dabbling in writing since I was, oh God, in high school.
Mm,
That's when I really got the bug for it. And then in college, I took a few creative writing courses, and that's when it kind of solidified as this is something I really enjoy and want to do with the rest of my life.
mm,
And then I didn't really do anything with it for years.
yeah.
um, but I was at my job, and it was a very stressful time at work, and something in me snapped.
Mm,
I had been trying to do like comics and things where I had to rely on other people to create a product where I would be the writer, they would produce the art, and I would have to facilitate the whole thing though. I'd have to
mm.
hound people to like I had some flaky associates.
Oh,
I
you
had
put
to
the
pay out
foot
of pocket
down.
for things. And I basically just said, you know what? I need to do something where it's only going to rely 100% on me.
Yeah.
And the easiest option for that is a novel. So I was
Mm,
like, okay, you know what? I'm doing a novel. And in 3 weeks' time, I wrote a 75,000 word novel.
wow.
I just every day after work, whenever I had free time, I wrote, and I wrote like a speed demon. And that was the start of my novel career. So I wrote 3 novels after that.
Mm,
So three total novel. Well, 4 total novels, 3 published.
yeah.
And then I started streaming, and that kind of became less and less important to me because I found streaming to be much, much more enjoyable. But writing is something that I truly love and still do to this day. So,
True. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say. Yeah. Because. Let me think. I was going to try and work into the streaming angle as well because you started streaming. Obviously, people like your personality and they enjoy having a community around you. I've been to your Discord and it's just like full of so much activity and
yeah.
memes and in jokes. And we've got community questions later that kind of feed into those in jokes. So I was just thinking, so I guess maybe I'll ask like, why did you start stream? How long? How does it feel to? Sorry, why did you start streaming, and how does it feel to be a streamer? I guess is what I'm saying of like RPG Maker games and bring out this community surrounding you.
Well, I started streaming because I kind of hit a wall with writing.
Mm,
I had written a novel, and even my editor, a close friend of mine, was like, "This is absolute garbage."
right.
You like it's not a terrible book, but you're jumping all over with the plot. Because at the time I had opened up a Patreon for my writing, and I was doing like, okay, I'll do a chapter a week sort of thing.
Mm,
But I found that kind of putting myself in a very strict sort of writing format like that, where I wasn't, and the things I write off the cuff.
mm,
So I take notes as I go, but I don't really have any sort of big framework ready to go, and I don't have anything really written down that okay, this story is going to be like this. These are the bullet points I have to hit. I just basically have an idea. Okay, here's the start, here's the end. I'll fill in the middle as I go.
right. Yeah.
So I had hit a lull with the writing. I wasn't enjoying it. So I was like, okay, I need to take a break. I need to take a step back. So I stopped doing the chapter a week thing. I shelved that novel I had done.
Mm.
I did NaNoWriMo. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh
that, but
yes.
that's
Yeah.
when you write a novel in the month. I did that, and I actually enjoyed doing that, but something about I wasn't enjoying writing like I'd used to. So I was trying to find something that I wanted to do a little different.
Mm,
And streaming kind of popped out. I mean, I tried to stream back in 2016, but I was doing Oh god, I don't even remember what I was streaming. It was some indie games here, some Overwatch there, sort of stuff. Nobody was really watching, so I just gave up.
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, if I really put something into this, I could do something with this. I could have fun with it. And I like playing games, so why don't I just play games and just share that with people? Because another part of it was like there are these moments in games that happen. I'm like, oh my god, that was all. But I'm the only one here. There's no one to share that with. So
Exactly.
that's also
Yeah.
kind of what pushed me into streaming. So,
Mm.
and then like I said, RPG Maker just seemed like kind of a nice little niche to jump into because I'd always enjoyed the engine, enjoyed the games made with the engine.
Mm.
So why not put a spotlight on that? Because not many people were, and I like to think that I'm, doing pretty good with it.
Oh, you are. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, uh, both entertaining and just like the community that you've got around. And it seems funny because for a long time I kind of thought RPG Maker games and streaming didn't necessarily go together, but then you see like the explosion of like popularity of people like Manly Badass Hero, and then
Oh
you got
yes,
like
yes.
other creative, playing Omori and just get, it's just like, but then like what I think appreciate about you is that you're such a consistently supportive of the RPG Maker community. You play the games that they suggest. I think on your Patreon and your subscribers sort of club, you have this. I think you have this wheel. Explain that, like a wheel that you spin where you play games. I'm not really sure how it works.
I haven't brought the wheel out in a little bit. I'm
Okay.
thinking about bringing it back, but
Mm,
it's basically where I would take all the games that were suggested to me,
mm,
and after I finished a previous game, we'd spin the wheel and just see what are we going to play next, and we would try it out. And if it's a game that was fun and entertaining to stream, yeah, sure, we continue on with it. Otherwise, we just spin the wheel again. And I think it was kind of a fun little thing. We just spin the wheel, or there'd be something that I call 1-star Thursdays,
yeah.
where I look for the less than stellar games.
Mm,
And it's not so much to make fun of them or to drag them because they're not made to the same level as, say, Amori or Midnight Train or some other games out there like Umbral Souls, one of my personal favorites.
yeah.
Little,
Oh, yeah. It's good.
what's the word? Plug there for Wheelman.
Yeah.
And to kind of see, I do it because I'm looking for the diamonds in the rough.
Mm,
But at the same time, there are a lot of unintentionally funny things in these games that it's funny to laugh at. I'm not
yeah.
gonna sugarcoat it, but at the same time, I'm not laughing at the game. I'm kind of laughing about the game. Like this
Mm,
is a funny thing. Like the dialogue, okay, it's very poorly written dialogue, but it's got a bit of charm because it's hilarious because it's poorly written. So,
yeah.
and the last couple of 1-star Thursday nights that I've done, the games haven't been bad. They've been entertaining.
Mm,
And there have been a few where it's like, okay, this isn't really a fun game, so we'll move on to the next. But the ones that are really entertaining, I feel like it's a good thing too, because I'm also kind of shining a light on things that really never would get kind of a spotlight.
yeah. And it's such a difficult thing sometimes, considering the connection between creator and creation. Someone's 1-star rating where someone might think, oh, this person didn't really put too much effort into. They don't even take it seriously, but it might be something that they poured their heart and soul into. So
Yeah.
I appreciate. I think that's when you have a really good like understanding of that. I'm going to be helpful, but at the same time celebrate and laugh at the same. There's like a balance going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Like,
I don't want to be one of those types that
Mm,
just attacks games because, oh, this is garbage. I hate this. Oh my god, default font again. What the heck?
yeah,
I don't want to be one of those, and I decided very early on I didn't want to become one of those types
mm,
of streamers. And I'm not going to drag them. I'm not going to say digs against the people that do that. If it works for them and their communities, that's fine. I'm not going to go raging against those that say, "Hey, this is how I'm going to do my streams." But for me personally, I'd rather celebrate the games themselves, and there's an understanding that yes, okay, maybe this isn't the best game that they've made. Maybe this is just an absolute pile.
yeah,
But at the same time, they put work into this.
mm,
Somebody out there put their own work into this. They actually tried to make something that they thought was entertaining and that they enjoyed doing. And I feel that deserves at least a little bit of respect,
yeah. Yeah, it's one of the biggest, I feel like one of the biggest misconceptions in the gaming industry is the amount of work that actually goes into something to
Oh, yeah.
create it. Even the worst games, the most terrible games you
Mhm.
can think of, probably hundreds of hours
Yeah. Yeah.
on big rigs, racing, or they laugh at how
Yeah.
bad that is. It
Yep.
still took some time to create. It still
Yeah.
required some skill, and that's funny. You can pour a massive amount of skill and creativity into something. It can still be a bad, an unfun
Yep. Yep.
experience. Game design is such a difficult thing, and I just find that it's good to have that perspective.
hmm I
Yeah.
also try and keep that player perspective too, because
Mm,
I've seen a few streamers where they come at it because they themselves are devs.
yeah.
I'm not a true through and through game dev. I don't really consider myself that. I still consider myself more of a player and a writer,
Right.
and I come at it from a player's perspective. Like what's fun for me as a player, not oh I would have developed this differently. I would have balanced this differently. It's like, that wasn't fun for me because it was this. I kind
Mm.
of come at it from that perspective too.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's really important. Like you get down to like the real reasons why something is good or bad, rather than a lot of people can focus on some of the things that don't really matter. Like, yeah, but
Mhm.
that's just the art of critiquing, I suppose, is
Yeah,
being
yeah,
able to discern those tangible details. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I would say I'm gonna do a bit of like a U-turn and talk about specific examples. Are there any examples of RPG Maker games or otherwise indie games in your community or otherwise that have really floored you, for example, this year or lately? Things that you just played and you thought were
Oh wow.
amazing.
Um, Not to toot my own horn, but the Hocktober Game Jam that
Mm,
I recently hosted, some of the games of that just were phenomenal.
yeah.
And they only made it in a month. And
Mm,
we had some really good games out of that. Some really entertaining games, some amusing games. And I do that every year. And every year I'm just floored by the amount of creativity that people come up with the theme that I determine. And then they make their games and they just blow me away.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, because there's some
oh, sorry.
developers in your community, right, that have actually gone on to like I think did they get a placing in the Touch the Stars? One of the people in your community, I can't remember. Uh,
Um,
I can't
Oh, I
remember.
can't
Yeah,
remember either. I was a
yeah.
judge too. Oh my gosh.
We're both judges and we can't remember.
oh
Sorry, I'm
my
burning on
gosh,
my
yeah.
side. But yeah, but like I think at least they got get some. I saw some good developers that were in your community. It seems to be quite a nice hub for like communication as well. So I appreciate that about your community. But yeah, it's really good. Um, do you think about the RPG Maker, suppose, sphere as a whole of games? Considering, like, the reason why I'm asking you is because you've played so many RPG Maker games, like so many of them, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes rare because we as develop, I'm also a developer in RPG Maker Engine, but like we can develop a lot, but not necessarily play all the games. Whereas
Yeah.
someone who is a pure player of RPG Maker games is sometimes hard to find. And especially as public as you are and as experienced. So I think if you were to say anything about like the RPG Maker sphere as a whole, would you say what would you say we could learn the most, where we could most improve as developers in our games? What do you see the most common kind of
The
pitfalls?
most common pitfall I find um, is this need or desire to emulate games of old.
Mm,
I could understand like the nostalgia factor,
mm,
but to be perfectly honest, I'll see games that say inspired by classics like Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger and
yeah.
Arc the Lad and Lufia and all, and it's like, and I just my eyes gloss over, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be like 100 other games that I've played
Yeah.
because they all said the exact same thing. Oh my gosh, I'm inspired by the greats and the classics, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, awesome, but did you actually make a story that is going to evoke the same sort of emotions as the classics, or did
Yes.
you just copy the game mechanics of the classics and hope that it works?
Yeah, I see it as like texture,
And
texture versus
yeah,
function. Sometimes you can have the texture of an old school game, but the function is still the
yes,
thing underneath it needs to be worked out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too many developers get hung up on that nostalgia factor,
Mm.
and they don't really like. And to be perfectly honest, back in the day, I played Chrono Trigger when it came out, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Recently, I started to go back into it, and I've actually streamed it a little bit. It's not that fun, and it's those rose-colored glasses. But it's still a classic, and it's still a great game. But
Mm.
for me, don't really find it that fun. There's a lot of RNG to it. You have to really know what to use on certain bosses.
Yeah.
And at the time when I was, 14, 15 years old, I had nothing but time. And
Mm.
I just tried it again and again and again. I'm like, oh, this is still so awesome. Oh my God, yeah, let's play, let's play.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, okay, I don't have time for this.
And
And I
we
think a lot of developers kind of get lost in that nostalgia factor
yeah.
and don't really focus on what makes a game fun.
Mm.
Is it just because I remember it being fun, or is this game actually fun? Does this game respect the player's time?
Mm.
Things like that. So that would be my biggest advice is if you want to have a game inspired by something that came out 20, 30 years ago, try not to look at it with rose-colored glasses. Play
Yeah.
that game through again. See what really sings to you as the developer. Okay, what can I take to what can I take to 2021, 2022 update and make it unique for my game? So
Yeah.
it's inspired by and not just a cookie cut out of.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree totally. I agree wholeheartedly on that. And I also think that when it comes to modern games, we've always tried to build on previous successes. I see this in art,
Yeah.
throughout. Like you think of someone watching The Godfather for the first time, and you think someone might watch it and say, "This is really cliche because all of this has been done before." It's like, but when it came out, it was like this was the first time these things were being used. And I think sometimes when we were back then playing our initial games, it was because there was nothing actually like that around
Yeah.
at the time. So it was
Exactly.
innovative for its time, and that's why I respect. But even if I find flaws in it, you can always respect the classics, but realize
Oh
that
yeah,
we
of
have,
course.
with modern designers tried to improve upon that. Sometimes in the wrong direction, mind you. Let's
Yeah.
not just assume
Mhm.
that modern
Yep.
design is always good,
Yep,
because
completely.
that's why when we play RPG Maker games, I'm feeling like retro and nostalgic feelings, but it also has like the simplicity like of 2D, because you play both 2D and 3D games. I've seen you play like
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bayonetta and stuff, so you
Yeah.
celebrate both sides of the. Yeah, I think let's see. Oh, actually, I like to go in an interesting direction. I've started
Sure.
streaming recently.
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you ever get like streamer or content creation exhaustion? Like,
Oh, completely.
yeah,
Completely. And for the longest time, I would still kind of force myself to stream or, oh, I got to do this. I have to do this. I have to keep going. I have no choice. I never really took time for myself. In fact, I only recently got to a point where I'm like, you know what? If I need a break, I need to take a break
mm,
because the exhaustion and burnout is completely real. Even though it may seem really easy, I'm just sitting here playing games and joking with chat all the time, and it seems like anybody can do that, and literally anybody can. But at the same time, you also have to kind of put on a show. You have to be entertaining. You have to make sure that everything's working properly. You have to make sure that your lighting is good, the sound is good, that the game is okay. You have to
mm,
keep an eye on chat. If it's dying, why is it dying? Is it because the game is boring? Is it because you're boring? And there's a lot of things going on at the same time. So burnout of that is very real.
yeah,
So you need to take a break now and then. Otherwise, you will completely burn out and then you'll start to hate it. And I don't want to hate this. This is one of the few things I've done with my life that I truly enjoy and
mm,
have joy about. I actually, when I'm not burnt out, I feel joy about wanting to come home. It's like, okay, I'm streaming tonight. Yes, I'm going to play this new game. Awesome. Yes, this one I've been waiting for a while. This dev reached out to me a week ago, said, "Hey, will you play my new demo?" And it looked really awesome. And I can't wait to be like one of the first to try it out on stream, sort of thing. So
yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes it can vary because sometimes I get to the stream, I feel really exhausted, like, oh, I'm at the end of my
yeah.
rope.
Hmm.
Play a good game, I feel good almost,
And yeah,
within
it
the first
re-energizes
5 minutes.
you. Yeah.
And then there's other times when you just don't feel it and you just kind of
Yeah.
slogging through. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't
Yeah.
wait till I get offline.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, okay, that's it for the night, folks. Good
Yeah.
night. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, before I forget, let's try and get to some community questions.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Community
Yes. So
questions.
these are the questions that have been asked by the community, by several different community members, several different communities as well. There's some interesting ones in here. I'll note first that it's kind of funny. I sort of realized that there's a barrier or some sort of like that you let your community members cross when they're interacting with you.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the
I've
mocks
very
and the
recently.
insults.
yeah, I kind of let my community get away with a lot of things because I've always had a good sense of humor,
Yeah.
and as long as it isn't too personal or too mean spirited, because
Mm,
there is a line. It's very thin, but there is a line,
yeah.
and as long as it isn't aimed to like say my family or anything like that, pretty much anything goes. And I find that it can be a good and a bad thing
Mm,
because I've learned recently about parasocial relationships and how to keep a distance between like people who are personal, intimate friends and those who are fans and associates and people I joke around with online, and to kind of keep a separation between the two so that I don't get too caught up in, oh, well, this person, you know, they need my time, but, do I really need to give them my time sort of
yeah.
thing? And that could be a little exhausting too.
Yeah, because there's a
But I
little.
think I found a good balance.
Yeah, I think you're very good with rolling with the punches to a sometimes to a disturbing extent, but
Yeah,
I
a little,
appreciate it.
maybe a little too much, but yeah,
But
I kind of think it's part of the charm and part of the
yeah.
fun.
Well, I think that's why some people feel very comfortable with you. They feel very safe to roast you no matter what you're doing. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm thinking also. I had a thought in my brain, it just went. Um, yes, it's gone. Oh well, we'll get to the community questions.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
All right, we're starting with one by Nuva Art. Thank you, Nuva Art. They ask, heard of the RPG horror games? If so, which one is your favorite?
Yeah, I have a special affinity for RPG Maker horror games. Even the ones where it's nothing but really, really badly timed chase events where if you're not pixel perfect, you're gonna die, sort of thing. I've always enjoyed those games. As for my favorites, oh Lord, there's Mad Father. Played that a while ago. I don't think I played it on a stream. I need to rectify that.
Mm.
Really enjoyed that one. It was kind of a darker, interesting one. There's the one by Old Pat. Oh God,
The Lady
what was the
Puppet?
name of it? Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I played the demo for that.
so good.
That was phenomenal. Um, Indigo Lockhart, which isn't really a horror game,
Mm.
but it has some darker elements, some more a little bit of gore and killer robots and things like that. So that was a fun game too.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I if it's a RPG Maker horror game, I'm pretty much there for it, whether it's
nice.
good or bad.
Nice. Another community question. Thank you, Nuva. This one's, they say, please ask Hawk about how his wife will enjoy his chest when he transitions. Uh, and that was by Rizzy. So there's an example of the community.
Oh, Resi. Yeah, this is yeah, there's a slight in joke on my channel and my community about the feminization of myself, and it's not going to happen. But I'll let them have their little jokes. That's okay.
Yeah.
That question in no way cost anyone. There's human on my channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Resi. I'll talk to Resi later.
Yes. The Realtron asks, if you and Drifty had to box, who would win?
Oh my
And
God.
and who would win in a fight to the death where anything goes? This is pretty violent questions in here.
Oh my God. What? What kind of question is that? I'm not gonna fight a cancer survivor.
Yeah,
No.
why not? No.
Oh my God. No matter who wins, I'll be the bad guy.
Exactly. That's a good answer. The
Oh my
Realtron, thank you
God.
for your intense question. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're really getting put through the roast to this today. So, another community question.
Oh no.
Someone
Oh no.
asks, where is the pee stored?
Obviously in the balls.
Yes. They also said to say, Illy sent me to ask you this. Um,
Listen, what is wrong with my community? Oh my gosh.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
that's pretty much, yeah. Honestly, it's your fault for interviewing me, if we're being
yeah.
honest.
Yes, and if anyone
uh,
in Twitch chat, I'm keeping an eye on Twitch chat just in case anyone wants to ask any questions. So if you've got any other questions, feel free to let me know. And I will also open Hawk Zombies chat just in case they have some there as well. All right. Let me just open that and mute, and because I
There
think.
is one where they asked if it was Squid Game, who would win.
Oh, okay.
I passed red light, green light. I know that. I was really good at that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
The sugar game, I would probably end up with an umbrella and I'd probably die.
Yeah.
So that would be, I'd probably be out in round two. I have no idea if Drifty would go any further or not. I'd like to hope that he would pass at least red light, green light, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. QCon asks, "What's your favorite anime?"
Two actually, and they're older. I haven't watched anime recently, to be honest, but well, actually, okay, three. Vampire Hunter D, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
Trigun, the series, and Hellsing.
Nice, nice. I need to watch those.
They're good. They're good.
Oh, cool. Roxy64 asks, "Are you doing anything for NaNoWriMo?"
This year, no. No, I haven't done anything for NaNoWriMo since 2017, I believe.
Right. Yes.
That's when I wrote my. Or wait, was it maybe? I can't remember when I last did it, but yeah, I did write a novel for it, but I never published it, and I don't think I'm going to do it again. It was really taxing because you feel like you're under a huge deadline, and it is one of those things where you have to have more of an idea of what you're going to be writing because you have to write at least a minimum amount each day to hit that 50,000 word limit. And even though I wrote a novel in 3 weeks and did 75,000 words, that was more of a fever dream.
Yeah.
And I did it because I felt like I was trapped, and this is going to be my way to break out of my terrible, well, it wasn't really terrible, but just stressful job. And that didn't really happen, but I still feel glad for the experience, and I don't think I could ever repeat it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's possible for anyone. I mean, I've tried it before and then I failed every time, so probably on the third day. It's just my personality. Ronald9954 asks, "Is Harold best waifu?"
I'm gonna say no.
Oh, who is that?
Controversial, very controversial within the community.
Right.
I would say no. I have always been a huge fan of 2K3 as far as an engine.
Yes.
It's probably my favorite. I know that a lot of the other engines brought more to the table in different ways, but just something about the aesthetic, and maybe just because that was the first one I actually kind of dabbled around with, it's got a soft spot on my heart. And I can't remember the name of the main character in that one, but that I would say, is it Alex? Okay, or is it Alux? No, not Alexis.
Alexis, I think, is XP.
Was
is
it?
it? Yeah, I think
that was XP. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
not
Alex
XP.
is
XP is my
2K or
least
2K3.
favorite. No,
Yeah.
XP can go die in a fire. Anyway,
Behind VX. So, Kiova says, "Legit question: When am I, me, Kia, this person, getting that vampire detective?"
that's my game I'm working on. I keep putting off writing it because I kind of keep hitting some roadblocks, like writer's block and things like that. But I do want to release it because I think I've got some really good characters. I've got a decent story. I just have to sit down and actually pump it out soon, Kia. Very soon.
Yes, yes. Let me check my chat real quick.
Sure.
Here is a question: How do you get Hawk to play your game? By Nerdmansion. Ask.
Right now, I have a thing where Patreons and Twitch subscribers at either tier 2 for the subscribers or $10 or more Patreons, you guys can request me to play any game, any game, as long as it's Twitch appropriate, and I'll play it for at least an hour each month. But when it comes to developers, you just ask me, and I will see if I can slot it in. So I give preference and kind of preferential treatment to those as kind of a thank you for those that are supporting me. And it's not really, you don't have to pay me to play your game. I'll never charge to play a game. It's just more of, hey, this is a thank you. I'll play whatever garbage you guys want me to play. And sometimes, like, they have me play Power Wash Simulator, like 1 month. So, okay, sure, whatever. Okay. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But if you're a developer, just the best way, contact me on Discord. Send me a DM. I'm on RPG Maker Web, the official forums. Send me a message there. I will get back to you and we'll figure out, hey, when's a good time? What kind of demo do you have? Is it something that I think my chat would be interested in, that sort of thing? And I will try and slot you in. I love when devs come to me and say, hey, will you please play my game? Because without you guys, I wouldn't really have at least half of my content. So
yeah, true. Excellent, excellent. I have an interesting question from Studio Blue as well, which is something
Oh,
that
okay.
I'm kind of relating to. So I think it's like, a double content creation, game development, or other sort of development sort of related question. But anyone who makes games can probably identify with this idea that you have one thing, marketing per se, and you have to juggle different projects at once. So let me ask you this: do you ever feel that streaming, as well as being a leader in the RPG Maker community, keeps you from other creative projects? And if so, how do you handle it or deal with it?
Honestly, yeah, I do.
Hmm.
And it's mostly because I feel like, okay, I need to stream, but then at the same time, oh, I have this editing project I've been paid to do. I've got to get that stuff done. So after the stream, I'll do my video edits real quick. Then I'll spend an extra couple of hours doing that, and that's kind of that burnout, sometimes. And then there'll be times where like, okay, I need to focus on this. I'm going to take a night off streaming to do that. So you have to kind of determine which is more important at that time. Like if you have an obligation, like I said, I do proofreading services, so I have an obligation. Those are like my first and foremost obligation, because somebody is literally paying me to come and help them clean up their game and
Yeah,
their
yeah.
dialogue and whatever. So that's like priority number one, and I always make time for that.
Excellent.
Then I have the streaming, and that's my main bread and butter as far as feeling creative and doing creative type things, showcasing the games, playing games I enjoy, sharing those games I enjoy with the community and people that otherwise wouldn't really see those kind of games. And then I have my own creative projects, so there'll be days where I will take a day off streaming to focus more on those. And finding a balance is hard, but it can be done.
Mm.
And you just have to kind of determine what is your, okay, this is the top tier stuff that gets the most attention, and then kind of how does it go down the ladder from there.
Mm. Excellent, excellent. Oops, sorry. Oh wow, I screwed up my stream. Okay, so I would also like to ask.
Sure.
This is from Waka. How was your life as a hawk before becoming a zombie? But I'll add on to that by asking, where did your name come from?
Okay. My life as a hawk was pretty uneventful.
Mm.
There was a scare with some DDT and some thin-shelled eggs, but we got past that, and then I became a zombie. I was bitten by another hawk that had turned, and the rest is history. As for
Oh.
where the name came from, way back when AOL was still a thing, and like you get those discs in the mail, and with everything all over the world, I had made a username, and it was a combination of part of my last name and zombie, which I was obsessed with Resident Evil at the time.
Mm.
So Hawk, zombie,
Excellent.
and the rest is history. It's changed a
Nice.
few times over the years, and when I came back to streaming, I was like, you know what? That's kind of a cool name. I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah. Excellent. Awesome. And I like the name. I instantly like the name as soon as I saw it. It's like Hawk Zombie. That's an awesome name. Love it.
It's very brandable too. I got a nice little neat little hawk guy, and it's all my emotes. Yes, it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, you gotta have a nice little token. I got my cola thing going on. I got my little cat.
Yes, yes, see a cat. Yeah, exactly.
You got your
You got
branding.
to have something that's easily marketable and that people can recognize. Like, oh hey, that's RPG Maker Cool, or oh hey, there's Hog Zombie, or hey, there's Studio Blue and there's Slime.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah. And there is Ephemera. He says, "I'll so get banned for this question. Hawk, lefty or righty?"
You're righty. You mean like am I left-handed or right-handed?
I don't
Okay,
know.
I'm answering it that way. I was born left-handed. Then I had a asshole of a teacher force me to do all my assignments right-handed because they're like, this is the correct way to do things. You left-handed is bad. So I'm actually technically ambidextrous.
Oh,
I can I my writing is not equal on both sides, but I my strength and how I can do everything completely equal on both sides. But my writing is a little messier on my left.
yes. Well, that's funny because like that was surprisingly interesting.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Excellent. Well, yeah, that's all the community questions I've got so far. So if anyone wants to ask any by the end of it, we might go back to that. But for now, let's continue with another topic.
Sure.
Let me see. Dum-dum-dum. Hmm.
Just real quick, Barry asked on my channel, what's my favorite RPG Maker game that I played on stream so far or otherwise? I am definitely going to say Umbral Souls is probably one of my top favorites.
Yeah.
Something about that game, the writing, the way that Wheelman put it all together. I don't know. That one, I always go back to that one. And then more recently, Lockhart Indigo was friggin' amazing. And Ms. Director by Harmless. Holy crap, that's another good one.
Yes.
I love games like that where it's a bit of a mystery and also really good graphics and really good gripping story and good characters. That kind of stuff really gets me every time. So, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I was just thinking. You gave me some time to think about what I was going to ask next.
Excellent.
This might be a difficult question to answer, and it might not be, but you might, who knows, you might be the person to ask. Okay. What do you think about commercial RPG Maker games and what to expect, how to promote? What do you think about it right now, like in terms of people selling their RPG Maker games? What's your opinion about that?
It's perfectly fine. You have put time and effort into making this game. I have no issue with somebody trying to recoup some of their quote unquote losses by marketing their game and selling it. The issue I find though is that people really don't pick prices that really match the market.
Yeah.
Like you'll see a game that, and even my game, I've repriced as well, where it'll be like a $5 to $10 game, but it'll only have like an hour or two of content, or it'll be more like a elongated demo. And they're not really marketing it very well as well. And there's a lot of pratfalls that happen when you do go to a commercial side of things. There's a certain expectation as well when you market it. People are more forgiving of those free games because, hey, they're free. Okay, awesome. I get free content. I can just play whatever I want. Awesome. Do. But when you put a price tag on it, suddenly it's like, okay, I'm going to nitpick every single little thing about this game. And if it's not absolutely perfect, this is just crap. I think that's a little unfair. But at the same time, if you put yourself out there, you're going to have to kind of expect that sort of reaction, especially for RPG Maker games, because there's that kind of stigma around them that they aren't the best quality. They're just churned out a dime a dozen sort of thing, and that people are overcharging for them. And I think to a degree, like if I see a $30 RPG Maker game and it's not made of like pure gold, I kind of judge it a little more harshly than other games, because I feel like, okay, sure, okay, I'm not saying you didn't put thousands of hours into this, that there isn't custom graphics, et cetera, but it's like, are you really going to get a AAA price for an RPG Maker game? Is that really, feasible? Is that really something that you think is a good idea? And I don't know. It's a really controversial and hard topic to answer. But I think that if you are going to price your game, you need to kind of look at the market, look at what similar games are priced, even buy a couple of those similar games and see what they play like, see what kind of length they have, see what the reviews they've got, and kind of try and price yours accordingly based on a little bit more research. I think people just go at it like, okay, I put 10,000 hours into this, I'm going to charge $50 because that's what I'm worth. Okay. And if you're going to do that, fine, but maybe do some research first and find out, okay, is that $50 price point really the best thing for my game? Or is it just going to sit there and languish and maybe one or two people will buy it over a 2-year span, rather than if I had it at, say, a $15 price point for the kind of game that it is, and I sell 200 copies instead of 2.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of do market research. That's the best advice I can give.
Yeah. It's very difficult. What I would say about commercial as well is like you said, there's just a lot of talk about price points, and we're living in, just the absolute boom of indie projects going on, indie games where at one point your game would stick out and now it simply doesn't, even if it is, like I've seen games that I personally think are some of the best games of the year, but they just get overlooked. They simply do because of marketing or other reasons. So in these days you have to be a developer as well as a marketer. Back you used to just be, I'll just post my game to rpgmaker.net, put some nice screenshots in there, maybe about a paragraph of description,
and then it just goes viral because of word of mouth. But and I'll be honest, I'm terrible at marketing, especially myself, because I'm the kind of person where if I see, I'm personally annoyed by being inundated with links and constant links
Yeah.
to, oh, hey, watch this, do this, here's my game 500 times, sort of thing. And it annoys me. I also don't want to be the guy that's annoying other people, so it's hard to break out of that mentality. But if you want to actually make a living doing indie development, you have to be that guy. You have to be willing to, okay, I've got to shove it in people's faces. I've got to make sure they know about it. I've got to get it out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's just, I think one of the things that I've been trying to do as a creator is to give developers expectations and try to temper those expectations. It's one of the most difficult problems I'm seeing in game developer, in the sphere, is kind of people getting burnt out, and then when they release the game, it gets almost no reception. They're sort of like, why did it not, and they have this big
I pour
build
my heart and soul into this, and I made all these custom graphics. I did everything right, and only 2 people have played my game, and I only got 1 review. And it's disheartening, but at the same time, how did you market it? How did you get it out there? Did you talk to streamers like, say, Manly Badass Hero? Hey, I'm making a horror indie game. Would you like to play it on your stream? Here's a free copy. Here's an early release. Reach out to streamers and Let's Players and things like that and say, hey, play my game. Show it to your community.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And even then, I would say it's not even. You can give advice and stuff, and then beyond that, some of it's just luck. There is skill going on. You should be a good marketer, but then beyond that, some of it, you have to be at the right trending time in history. You can release at the right time, and all these factors come into play. I've seen people have a Kickstarter a couple years ago when it was just exactly the right time to have a Kickstarter, and that's where their game just got a lot of followers. And like, for example, Omori is a fantastic example of that. Sort of gaining that Kickstarter following back then might be a little bit more difficult now to have that same.
Because I feel people have also gotten a little bit burned by Kickstarter. I myself have at least 2 or 3 projects where I've put in $30, $40, $50 for an upper thing because, hey, this looks really awesome. I like what they're doing here. I think this will be something that's really worth watching.
Yeah.
And there's one, literally, I backed it in 2013. They're still giving updates, but it's because they've basically fallen into the trap of, oh, well, new technology's coming out, so I have to relearn that and redo the game from scratch. And they're not getting anywhere. And it's frustrating because the initial idea was just fine. And if they would have just kept with that, they probably would have had a game out in a year or 2. And I'm okay with waiting for Kickstarter games. I know it's a process and I know it's going to take time, but at the same time, you can't take forever.
Exactly.
Then you just lose that momentum. And I think a lot of people are very, very cautious about, especially for RPG Maker projects, about Kickstarter, because who's to say you're going to finish it?
Yeah.
What kind of track record do you have? Like, you could have the most beautiful looking page, and there's been a couple of examples of really good looking RPG Maker Kickstarters where they just taken the money and ran.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but it's also kind of the risk at Kickstarter. So I think a lot of people are kind of being more cautious with that sort of things. Whereas when it first came out, people were throwing money left and right at these projects. Like, oh, this is so awesome. I can't wait to get this game. I'm using it like a pre-order. And then they're learning, oh, no, I'm taking a gamble. It's not a pre-order. I'm just basically saying, hey, here's my money. Please give me something back.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah.
I hope you give me something later.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's good, I think, when Kickstarters have like a demo or something available that someone can sort of... There's already some... I get the sense when there's already something there that promises, it's a bit more likely. You can it's sort of like betting on certain things. It's a bit more likely that it will actually turn out, for something good. But it's quite funny how that happens. I think that's almost all that I can think of that we can talk about, unless you've got something that you'd like to bring up. That's any topics.
I hear you're getting into music.
Oh, I love music.
You're doing more music stuff.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you. I learned that on one of your streams. Like I did not know you were more into music stuff. That's actually pretty cool.
No, yeah. I love the game development, and I'm making a soundtrack for my game, and it's going to be very music driven as well. So there's going to be scenes that are driven by the music, and I I love music. It's a thing that I've always loved. We have album listening parties where we just listen to an album together, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's one of the things. Do you like music?
Wait, I'm not a musician. I
Right.
was in band back in junior high, but I am no musician by any means. But I've always felt that music is a very crucial part of any game, or hell, any media. Really, you have to have the right kind of music to set the tone, and if you don't, it just kind of ruins the whole. Like, you can have an amazing game, but if you have the wrong kind of soundtrack to it, it doesn't really match up. Then it's all going to fall apart. So I feel like writing is like the foundation, but music is the bones. Is kind of one way I would kind of think of it when you look at game dev.
Yeah.
Like, you have your story and your plot, that's the foundation. Then you got the bones, which is the music. Then you have everything, like the flesh is like all the graphics and the gameplay and things like that, as it all kind of comes together.
Yeah, I played a game recently called Before Your Eyes, where you control it using your webcam and you're blinking.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, but also the thing they do is they fuse music with the writing, and they like I also see writing as like an orchestra as well. Things come in at the right time, different instruments, different characters, and plot beats, and you just have to weave it all together. So when, for example, Amori as well, just use music wonderfully in that game, and I think it's just something that we can't ignore. I've played some RPG Maker games that looked wonderful, but the sound design was terrible.
It just theme 6 all the way.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's such an important thing to value in development. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I think that is us for now. Thank you so much, Hawk Zombie, for being on the RPG Maker Cola podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, just chatting, just awesome.
Yeah.
I'd just like you to give the floor here to promote anything you do, obviously your streams and Patreon or anything. So yeah, just what's going on with you, and what can we expect from Hawk Zombie right now?
Yeah, I stream on Twitch. Those of you who are not on my channel, it's just on Twitch TV at Hawk Zombie. I stream 5 days a week, Monday to Thursday, 7 to 10 or 11, and then Saturdays, 7 to 10 or 11. And I've got a game I'm working on currently. It's about a vampire and werewolf detective duo in the 80s. So I've got that I'm working on, probably come up, probably maybe within the next year or two. But I don't really have anything else other than that. My Patreon, if you want to throw money my way, I'm not going to say no. It's just at Hog Zombie on the Patreon site. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have really anything else other than my stream and my upcoming game. So
excellent.
But I really enjoyed talking with you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed by the one and only RPG Maker Cola.
Stop it. No, it's been a long time coming, honestly. I've been wanting to put you on the podcast for a long time, but I had a long backlog, but it's just been awesome to have you finally on. So
yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you so much. And to the listeners, the audio listeners, I appreciate you listening to RPG Maker Cola. Join our Discord and follow us on Twitch and Twitter. We love you, and I hope you have a fantastic, fizzy evening or morning, wherever you are. Keep developing games. We love you, and we're out. Awesome.
See you guys later.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty. Yeah, thanks, Hawk. Thank you, Twitch audience as well. You're still here. You're still ready. Yeah, this is officially off the yes, I will stop the recording, and if you could send that WAV file to me, that would be fantastic.
Sure thing.
And yes, cool. Well,
all right.
I think we're good. Thank you, Hawk, and thank you, Hawk's
awesome.
Twitch, and I'll see you later.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Bye for now. Bye. Alrighty, chat. Chat, where are we? Thank you, chat. It's been really good. Where's my face? My face is gone because I used it for the other thing. My face is gone. My face is gone, and you're not wrong. Wait, where am I? Where's my face? Where's my face? Better put you in your place. Face man, face woman, face them. We love you. Okay, I can't even see my face. There's no face. Logitech Brio. Nope. Alright, no face. Oh, there I am. Whose GIF is this? This belongs to... This is by Malibu Derby. No, is it? No. Wait, Japanese City. Let me find them. I'll find them and I'll link them to you. Japanese City tile set. I got it from the Japanese collection. Let me post it here. There you go. That's where the GIF's from. And yeah, it's been a good stream. I have to go back to the work. I did this on my lunch break. So it's work time again. But I hope you enjoyed the stream, and this episode will be out on audio format very soon. Appreciate you. Love you. Have a fantastic rest of the night. Goodbye, everybody. Wait, let's raid somebody. Who am I raiding? Is Hawk going to continue streaming? If he is, then might as well raid them. Then Emma. I'm gonna raid them. Let's raid Hawk Zombie. Merge tabs, everybody. Merge tabs. See you, Harmless. Pollinator Gator. Studio Blue. D757 Gaming. Acratic Human. Ellie Beans. Appreciate you all. MF All Black. You're fantastic. I can fix that. Let's go.